The character of Rick is a very high-functioning alcoholic. In episode 304, we need to see him get especially drunk. So I encourage Justin to method act.
First thing I told him was don't have tequila. And then, of course, he had tequila. And liquor just adds a whole new aspect to Justin.
I understand things got a little creative.
How many shots is the right amount of shots for drunk Rick? This is my 4th shot. I'm definitely probably gonna be in the pocket after this. This little baby guy. I'm gonna tell you where to stick it. Because...
Got it.
See, that sounds too sober.
No, it doesn't. It sounds great.
I don't believe it. I don't believe you.
137.
I hear a bunch of screaming demons. Is that just me? My lips are chapped. Who's got chapstick? Here to explain is a little bobo boo.
Can you try to read this one on script?
Man, fuck you. Jesus Christ. What happens when we die? What happens when we all die? Do you guys worry about that shit at night? All right, forget it. Forget me. I'm drunk. Shit. I'm gonna need another shot to do this fucking...
Don't take it.
Don't
then
take
you're gonna
it.
be sick.
What are you talking about, man?
Wait till
Mike
like
knows.
halfway through.
You mean wait till my...
So you know, you get a little extra boost.
Man, get the fuck out of here, kid. Hopefully whoever we elect as the next prezzo won't disallow my ability to get a gun and kill my fucking self.
Let's get some lines.
I've got 3 things I have to do. Number 1 thing of my 3-list thing is...
Oh my God.
Here to explain this little baby princess. Whoa, 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 whoa!
I've been working on this show since season 1, and this is by far the least productive and messiest record day we've ever had. So, thanks a lot, Harmon.
Oh, can you hear it? It's a tiny violin. Oh, did you have to wrangle Justin for the performance of a lifetime?
Episode 301 finds Rick incarcerated in a galactic federal prison.
Federation is trying to get the formula for interdimensional travel out of Rick's brain. Rick, being one step ahead of them, takes him to his own past, which is actually a trap.
What are you talking about? This is a memory. You can't alter details of a memory.
True, but you can alter anything you want about a totally fabricated origin story.
We really like the idea of Rick's backstory being a fake out, you know, and keeping his origins shrouded in mystery.
I don't think that backstory is necessary for the viewer to enjoy a character. In fact, if you really wanted to deliberately sap a character of his or her appeal, would be to just say, oh, this is how they became everything that they became.
So we ended up getting the fun of telling a story that felt real. It would have been somewhat satisfying, and then pulling the escape hatch on that, because that's not the actual story we're telling about this specific Rick.
The more we think we know, the less we really do.
Thank you, Conroy. You spoil us, Conroy.
Grandpa Rick wouldn't put up with this. Stop saying his name.
Summer idealizes Rick, but more importantly, she realizes that Rick represents more of the truth than the Federated Earth does. Summer, having not seen firsthand the consequences of Rick's adventures as Morty has to actually take her back to one of the earliest adventures that he went on with Rick.
I can't believe Rick did this.
These are the parts of Rick's adventures you don't get to see. The parts he leaves behind.
This is a reality that was not too different than yours, and Rick treated it as valuable as a disposable razor blade.
Your mom wouldn't have accepted me if I came home without you and your sister, so now you know the real reason I rescued you. I just took over the family, Morty.
The reason we get away with Rick being such a selfish, sometimes vile character, I think, is because his fish actually are bigger.
I'm not driven by avenging my dead family, Morty. That was fake. I'm driven by finding that McNugget sauce.
Rick is a hero sometimes in some contexts and a villain sometimes in others. The more important fact is that Rick, for better and for worse, has transcended concerns about when he's a hero and when he's a villain to whom.
That's what's fun about watching him, is you're never gonna know if you're agreeing with him or if he's a psycho.
You want the guy to win. He's fucking cool and smart and funny, you know? Who's not gonna root for that?
Episode 303 opens up with Rick having turned himself into a pickle.
Turn myself into a pickle, Morty! Boom!
Summer, Morty, and Beth have now unified and are now actively trying to, in a healthy way, address some problems. And Rick is turning himself into a pickle and avoiding all of his problems by using sci-fi rigmarole, which he's great at.
And this is where the pickle becomes a metaphor, is that Rick physically changes himself in order to avoid any kind of true emotional, psychological change.
You know, your mom could put me in a purse or a pocket, you know, if she really needs me to go.
Nobody needs anything, okay? It's fine.
Beth is worried about losing Rick. Rick promised that he would go to family therapy, but she's not gonna beg him to go. She doesn't want to give him something to leave.
So he's willing to change himself into a pickle and get trapped in a sewer and attacked by rats and cockroaches than just simply sit in a comfortable office on a couch.
Why do we think Grandpa turned himself into a pickle?
Fuck you.
Mom!
Fuck both of you two.
Beth is going through a very confusing time, but in the fiber of her being, what she is Rick's daughter. She's somebody that values practicality and intelligence and efficacy over emotion and need. And need is synonymous with weakness for Beth and Rick.
You must be Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Wong might be Rick's greatest antagonist in the series so far. She actually sort of defeats Rick in battle a little bit.
She's the first one that really matches or outmatches his intellect in terms of just breaking down the heart of his sickness.
At the end of the episode, you would like them to be saying, of course we'll go back to that therapist, like that's gonna make us healthy. But they're not healthy.
I am afraid that my kids will get expelled.
Good.
We make the mistake because we see therapy in movies and TV that therapy's about breakthroughs. But it's more accurate to compare it to like physical therapy, where, oh, I can't move my hand because I got a bullet through some tendon or something and my body has to repair itself, but it won't unless I force it to do things that I don't want to do.
Because the thing about repairing, maintaining, and cleaning is, it's not an adventure.
Yeah, it's boring. It's hard work. It's like shoveling a driveway. It's deciding that you want to be a healthier person. Who would want to do that? It's like, it sucks.
Therapy is a real pickle, you know? Therapy is a real pickle.
This episode explores the idea of two franchises fighting. There's the Rick and Morty franchise and there's the Vindicators franchise.
They're the first line of defense against evil. They're the guardians of the unguarded. They're the writers of their own press releases, Morty.
Morty loves them, Rick hates them, and Rick wants Morty to be on his side. He wants him to just shit all over the heroes with him. But Morty won't do it.
Morty, I defeat Gagu's more powerful than these guys every week. They're my heroes! Mine!
I think Morty being so into these superhero characters kind of pisses Rick off. I think he's actually a bit hurt.
Rick's always been the center of the franchise. He's always been the coolest guy in the room, the most valuable guy in the room, and he's clearly not here.
Everyone in the universe is a hero. All you have to do is know the difference between good and bad and root for good.
It's a matter of convenience to say this is good and this is evil. We end up defaulting to, well, Batman's a good guy and Joker's a bad guy. We crave that. We crave that direction, and Morty's craving that direction in the thing.
So here you have a bunch of superheroes telling Rick that they're great and he's a piece of shit. But he knows that they're pieces of shit. And he's gonna prove it scientifically by getting super drunk and putting them in a horrific sci-fi Saw type situation.
Vance, stay calm.
Oh, so you're the leader now because we gave you a jacket? You're the learning disabled kid we do photo ops with!
Morty sees what happens when the Vindicators are put through their most difficult challenge, which is facing themselves. That results in them all killing each other, killing themselves, and it shows Morty that those who don't, or aren't honest with themselves, will have to eventually face the truth.
You managed to destroy just about everything today. The villains, the heroes, the lines between them. The fact that I was right about them must be pretty hard to admit. Yeah, it is.
So his grandpa is not a great hero. He's not a role model. But, you know, his grandpa's also right. It's just self-destructive and a piece of shit.
It wasn't a happy ending for the superheroes, the Vindicators, but at least Noob survived, and that's what's most important. Episode 5 opens up with Jerry in his sad, pathetic bachelor pad apartment and Rick kicking the door in and dragging him off on an adventure.
And what it sets up is the first time that Jerry and Rick have ever gone on an adventure together.
Rick hates Jerry, Jerry's an idiot. It should just end at that. But in each scene, they start in one place, not respecting each other, and they kind of flip multiple times.
Rick is pretending to be nice to Jerry, Jerry's pretending to be nice to Rick, Rick is, being honest to Jerry, Jerry's being honest to Rick. It's pretty interesting how every scene is sort of a different dynamic.
They don't have to hate each other. It's not biological. It's more circumstantial and has everything to do with Jerry being forced into Rick's life by virtue of his marriage to Rick's daughter.
Rick and Jerry had a lot of resentment building, I think, over the seasons, and I feel like this episode gives them like a therapeutic opportunity to kind of work that stuff out.
Rick has finally been able to say things to Jerry that he's never been able to say as nakedly honest and aggressive.
You act like prey, but you're a predator. You use pity to lure in your victims.
But Jerry is able to kind of do the same thing.
That's what I thought, bitch. You little punk ass.
Not to mention that they've also gone through a cosmic apotheosis. They've actually gotten closer to each other through experiencing 1,000 lifetimes or whatever in the wormhole.
So at the beginning of the episode, they hate each other. And at the end of the episode, they still hate each other. But they've agreed not to tattle on each other, too.
You wanna...
Nah, if the family sees me like this, they'll feel sorry for me, which is no longer my signature move.
Rick is being honest when he says, you want to come in. And Jerry's being honest when he says no. He wants to earn his place back in that family the right way.
Rick, who likes to have a good time, who'd rather be happy than sad, yeah, sure, he could get along with Jerry in a vacuum, but a vacuum's not really possible with Jerry. He's gonna fill that vacuum and create twice as much vacuum because he's such a needy creature.
It's ironic because Rick only wanted to take him out for a pity drink, but he ended up taking him out for an adventure that actually made Jerry stronger and better than he's ever been.
Certainly 306 is circling the psychological concept of there's bad parts of us that we have to get rid of, and then we'll be happy, and then we'll be healthy.
Rick and Morty are going to get their toxins removed. All the stuff they don't like about themselves is going to get sucked out by a sci-fi machine, and off they're going to walk better people.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. They pay the consequences for that, let me tell you.
In this season so far, we've seen Rick deeply hurt by Morty choosing the Vindicators over him. And we've seen in the past, clearly deep down, he really does care about his family. He cares about what Morty thinks of them.
If you suck the things that make Rick bad out of Rick and you base it on the customer's point of view, then Rick's identity is going to be saying, well, I know what's always holding me back. It's this tendency to want people to love me.
What are the toxins? They're the emotions. They're the things that you don't like about yourself. If you remove the toxins, that doesn't leave you as a better you. It leaves you as a weird, different, bad version of you.
Then you end up with hateful Rick, but also vulnerable Rick.
Morty this season has been growing as a person. He is becoming more confident, yet if he were to lose the part of him that's not cool and everything that makes him lovable, then we see what happens.
Sucked everything out. Everything that was holding me back, everything bad.
Cool.
So it's not so simple as this is good Morty and evil Morty. This is two parts of Morty that should be together.
Hey man, the stuff that we think are our worst qualities, still a part of who we are. Just gotta fucking own it.
It's easy to think that the gunky, toxic Rick and Morty are the bad Rick and Morty, but by the end of it, they're the ones with emotions. Gunk Rick is the one that cares about Morty. That's the stuff we want to get rid of from ourselves so that we feel better, but that's also the best part of ourselves. Think about it.
.307 is actually airing after a time when there's absolutely no way to not view the world politically. At the time that we were writing it, it was a creative exercise in what could make the Citadel worthy of its own episode.
We've only ever seen little glimpses of what the Citadel really is, and this is a chance to peel back the layers, explore it. How does it really work?
The one thing that maintains across the entire group is that Ricks are in charge and Mortys are beneath them. The longer that we thought about it, we realized that's where a lot of interesting drama comes from.
The fun of the episode is treating the Citadel with as much political complexity as America, as South Africa.
The heat in the air and the current climate, both politically, ideologically, emotionally, is actually the biggest character in the story, and that everyone else is just playing their little Robert Altman part apart.
No one really gets what they want in this episode. They're all given their own little twist endings that definitely aren't meant to be happy.
Sometimes human beings have this urge when times are complicated. Man, I wish things were more simple. Well, one character agrees with you in this story, and it's the character that needs to be the least empowered.
This candidate, Morty, whose true identity is revealed at the end as a character we've met before, has had a plan the whole time. Had very carefully orchestrated it.
I mean, I'm kind of glad we set that up because we got rid of the Galactic Fed. So now we have this like cool new antagonist. I mean, he's really perched in a high position now. There's a lot he could do.
That place will never have any bearing over our lives ever again. Unlike that mermaid puss. Yeah! We're going back for seconds!
And this is a Morty who was not just one step ahead of our Rick, but one step ahead of all Ricks.
The division I see is between the Ricks and Mortys that like the Citadel divided and the rest of us.
You know, everything he's saying is the right thing. It's just that he only said it in order to manipulate an entire space station of genius scientists to give him the ultimate power in the multiverse, which is pretty terrifying to think about what that portends.
So third season, we were going to do an interdimensional cable episode, but then Morty found out the Mind Blower Vault existed, and instead of doing it, he had to look at all the Mind Blowers. So blame Morty if you wanted that episode this season.
We are all a collection of our experiences, our memories. We're supposed to learn from them, and we're supposed to process them.
Is Morty eternally Morty because every time he has an opportunity to become something other than Morty, he or Rick keeps removing that potential? And also, does Morty keep making the decision to remove bad things that happen to him because he keeps removing them?
How many of these are just horrible mistakes I've made? I mean, maybe I'd stop making so many if I let myself learn from them.
The bigger picture of this episode is that these adventures are having a way more profound and powerful effect on Morty than we realized. And once again, Rick took the easy way out.
I think that it's interesting that Rick knows that there are some things that are so big that it's not that you grow, it just destroys you.
You simply have to choose.
Summer!
And so yeah, maybe Rick is a piece of shit for taking too many memories out from Morty, but he's keeping the guy going too by taking this stuff out.
I'd do it. If there's nothing I can do about a piece of information and all it does is make me enjoy life less, period, if that's all, then yeah, why not knock it out of there? You do that with a tooth.
Man, I have a lot of memories I wish I could make go away. Let go of your baby. Let go of your baby. Come here. Put the money in the bag. Put the money in the bag. Fuck, it's the cops. Who called the cops? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I meant to shoot the guard. I meant to shoot the guard.
When we first created the show, my big thing was, well, if this guy's gonna be dragging this teenager off on all these crazy adventures and the joke is always gonna be how the kid's almost dying, why is it that a mom would allow this to happen?
So it's another episode that reveals another layer to the Rick and Beth relationship, how Beth became who she was because of having Rick as her father.
I can't believe you used to lock me up in this glorified chicken coop.
Chicken coop?
He designed Fruipy Land to both entertain Beth so that he didn't have to, but also to protect her from herself.
Look at some of the shit you were asking me to make you as a kid. Ray guns, a whip that forces people to like you, a pink sentient switchblade.
None of us have control over what our kids are. You don't know what nature you're gonna get and what your nurture is gonna do. Is Rick a crazy dad to have? Yeah, but what if he had a crazy daughter?
Am I evil?
Worse, you're smart.
Evil is a construct that Rick doesn't really believe in. The universe is populated with stupidity, and you're the smartest person in it, then you're always gonna be the most cruel. You're always gonna be burdened by their dumbness. You're all alone in your intellect.
That's when Rick kind of breaks it to her and goes, you're an intelligent person, and you get to make a choice. I'll make a clone of you, you can just leave this life, you can go out and have space adventures, and you can find out who you truly are, but what you have to do is abandon everything that doesn't matter, which is everything you thought mattered before.
And we don't know at the end of the episode what path Beth chose. Pretty ambiguous, and I personally like it that way.
We leave the episode not knowing if this is a clone Beth or if this is the actual Beth that has decided to be happy and enjoy life, even knowing that nothing really matters. You're left as an audience member having to decide for yourself if that matters to you.
No matter what Rick does to try to consolidate his power, he's learning about the futility of it. There's always going to be something that's going to get in the way.
I brought this here to kill Jerry.
Oh,
Jesus Christ!
You win, Jerry. You win!
Jerry went on a journey this season and really worked on himself and became a better person, and that was personified in that moment when he wanted to recreate the innocence of Jerry and Beth's first date instead of just taking advantage of a confused Beth.
You know me, inside and out. Do what you have to do.
In the course of doing that, they reconnect, and she's convinced these feelings she had for Jerry are real.
His stupidity allows for concepts like romance. He loves me. Only an idiot could love me.
The love of Beth and Jerry has somehow trumped all of the shit Rick does and is the culmination of a season that started with Rick saying, "Nobody fucks with me, I destroyed your marriage on purpose."
Jerry is back where he belongs and happily, and everyone wants him to be there. And it's Rick who's out of step with the family.
What? No, she's not a clone!
Now the real question in the episode is Beth a clone or isn't she? You know, Rick is repeatedly asked to answer that question, but everybody knows that Rick can't necessarily be honest.
And we're hiding from you so you don't kill her. If she's a clone. So don't look for us.
Morty's putting his foot down and saying, you go on from here, you become a spin-off, you go find a new Morty and you start over, but without this instance of me.
Ugh, nobody gets it. Nothing you think matters.
What we see is that Rick concedes, and he actually bothers to put effort into a stupid relationship with a dumb president, thereby committing to this timeline.
There's your stupid hat, dipshit.
Dad, you can't talk to Jerry that way anymore. We're a real family now.
Rick is now the lowest status person in the family and can't do anything about it. The real question mark going into the next season is, when you're bragging that your family is great and everything's gonna be streamlined, what stories are we gonna tell that makes people like that get upset?
And most importantly, we get to pop in on Mr. Poopy Butthole. We see he's doing pretty good. He's got a wife, he's got a little kid, seems to be in pretty good health. I think he's off the meds. We've got a real problem, epidemic in this country with pharmaceutical addiction, so it's good to see that he's curbed that issue. It's pretty nice. I really like that character, and I'm really happy for him. And we're gonna probably check in with him again later on. You mark my words.
See ya for season 4 in like a really long time.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Imagine that she's looking at the floor.
Okay.
Masterpiece.
Okay.
Acting. What is it? Would you know if I told you that I wasn't lying? Would I perhaps be performing the answer? Only a director knows for sure. Welcome to my secrets to directing actors.
All right, then that takes us to 129A.
I said let's get our story straight.
We got it. It was that kind of through your teeth one. I just like fucking,
I thought I saw a putty tap.
These actors come to you dead, desiccated piles of driftwood, gnawed by abusive parents and alcoholism, filled with false pride and edamame.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I like all three of those. I like the first two better than the third. I thought I thought the second was a piece of shit.
Yep, so did I. Noted.
Just some asinine crap.
Noted.
I tell all my actors, you're going to hate me when you're finished with this, but you're going to thank me and love me too.
I don't know if I can do it.
You secretly think you might be able to do it.
I don't know if I can do it.
I'm a genius director.
At the risk of pretense, directing is to be a god. It's my job to breathe experience into them. Hello, corpse. Welcome to life. Action.